ticket prices hitting $8,000, a war between the host nation and a competing team, cartel violence shutting down a host city, fans banned, visas denied, workers threatening to strike, players signing letters begging for their own safety, protesters blocking stadium entrances. And the World Cup has only just started. This is not one problem. This is not two problems. This is a tournament drowning in crisis after crisis after crisis, and FIFA has an answer for none of them. Welcome to World Cup 2026. Welcome to FIFA Revolt, the channel that gives you the truth about football that mainstream media is too comfortable to tell you. Today we are doing something different. Instead of covering one story, we are pulling back the curtain on all of them. Every single major crisis gripping the 2026 World Cup right now, in one video, with full facts, no filters, and no corporate agenda. Because when you line them all up together, what you see is not a tournament with a few teething problems. What you see is a governing body that has completely and utterly lost control of the biggest sporting event on the planet. Let's go through them one by one. The ticket price scandal. Let's start with the problem that sparked a legal investigation. FIFA charged fans up to $8,680 for a single seat at the World Cup final. Group stage tickets that were originally listed at $51 jumped by an average of 34% between October and April, with no explanation and no warning. When fans pushed back, FIFA used fake scarcity tactics, telling supporters that tickets were running out, that they had to buy now or miss the event of a lifetime. An analysis later proved that resale prices had actually dropped below face value for nearly half of all group stage games, meaning the scarcity was entirely manufactured. The response from the U.S. government was swift. New York Attorney General Letitia James and New Jersey Attorney General Jennifer Davenport issued official subpoenas to FIFA, demanding internal documents and full transparency over their pricing strategy. They called it a gauntlet of confusion, fake scarcity, and impossibly high prices. FIFA's response? Infantino defended the prices by saying they were simply reflective of market rates for a World Cup ticket that fans saved years to be able to buy. This is how FIFA sees football supporters, not as fans, as a market. Iran at war with the host nation. Problem number 2 has never happened in the history of the World Cup. Not once, not ever. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched military strikes on Iran, killing the country's supreme leader and dozens of top officials. Iran responded with attacks on U.S. military bases across the Middle East. Two countries at active war with each other, and one of them is hosting the other's football team. Iran is scheduled to play 2 games in Los Angeles, the city with the largest Iranian diaspora in America. But their fans had their entire ticket allocation revoked 3 days before the tournament. Their federation president was denied a visa. Their team was forced to train in Tijuana, Mexico, under armed escort by Mexico's National Guard. Meanwhile, intelligence briefings from U.S. officials and FIFA obtained by Reuters warned in March that the potential for extremist attacks on matches, fan events, and transport infrastructure had grown significantly because of the Iran war and U.S. immigration policies. Senior FIFA officials themselves admitted preparations had not unfolded as expected. Not unfolded as expected. That is the understatement of the decade. Problem 3. Cartel violence in Mexico. Problem 3 came out of Mexico, and it was terrifying. On February 22, the Mexican military killed Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, the most powerful cartel boss in the country and the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. What followed was chaos. Cartel members immediately blockaded highways with burning vehicles, torched businesses across half a dozen Mexican states, and opened fire in multiple cities. A women's football match was suspended mid-game when players fled the pitch after hearing what media described as gunshots outside the stadium. 4 professional football matches in Mexico were postponed. FIFA announced it was closely monitoring the situation. Airlines, including Air Canada, United, Aeromexico, and American Airlines suspended flights to the region, and Guadalajara, a World Cup host city scheduled to host 4 matches, including a game on the tournament's very opening day, was at the center of all of it. Local residents like restaurant owner Hugo Perez, who lived just miles from Guadalajara's World Cup stadium, summed it up perfectly. He pointed to a government that had failed to fix basic services like water supply to his home, while spending millions hosting a global football tournament. And just days before the World Cup began, fresh protests erupted in Mexico City with demonstrators blocking off the plaza set to host the country's main fan celebrations. Teachers, families of Mexico's 130,000 missing people, animal rights groups, and dozens of other social movements took to the streets, trying to use the global spotlight of the World Cup to make their voices heard. Travel bans, blocking 39 countries. Problem 4 affects millions of people who will never even get to watch their team play. The United States government's travel restrictions cover 39 countries, including 4 nations competing in the World Cup itself. Fans from Iran, Haiti, Côte d'Ivoire, and Senegal face massive bureaucratic hurdles or outright bans preventing them from entering the United States to watch their own national team. Amnesty International issued a report in late March calling the situation a human rights emergency in the United States. The Council on Foreign Relations described it plainly: much of the world cannot attend this World Cup. Heads of 20 European soccer federations publicly discussed boycotting the tournament entirely. None ultimately went through with it because, as one analyst put it, at the end of the day, players want that shot at the World Cup. But fans do not have that choice, and millions of them are watching from home, not because they could not afford a ticket, but because their government's passport is not welcome at the door. Heat crisis and player safety. Problem 5 is a matter of life and safety. Scientists at Queen's University Belfast warned in January 2025 that 14 of the 16 World Cup stadiums could exceed potentially dangerous heat levels. During last year's FIFA Club World Cup, also held in the United States, multiple matches reported temperatures between 90 and 102 degrees Fahrenheit. FIFA's response was to introduce mandatory 3-minute hydration breaks in each half of every match, 3 minutes, for players running in 100-degree heat. Scientists immediately called for that to be doubled to at least 6 minutes. FIFA refused. And then came the detail that made fans absolutely furious. FIFA announced that the same 3-minute hydration breaks would also be available for commercial advertising at the discretion of broadcasters. Player safety breaks turned into ad breaks. In May 2026, dozens of players signed an open letter demanding FIFA take stronger action on heat protocols immediately. FIFA acknowledged the letter and changed nothing, and Problem 6 is one that FIFA created entirely by itself. For the first time in World Cup history, the tournament expanded to 48 teams and 104 matches. FIFA justified the decision by projecting record revenues of $14 billion, but the reality has been a logistical nightmare. Group stage matches between vastly unequal teams have produced one-sided games that are draining fan interest. Travel between host cities across the US, Canada, and Mexico requires extensive air travel, costing fans thousands of dollars just to follow their team. Climate activists have highlighted the enormous carbon footprint of a tournament spread across an entire continent. What was supposed to be the most commercially successful and operationally stable World Cup in history has instead become, in the words of one major football analysis, one of the most complex tournaments ever staged. The reaction from the football world has been one of genuine shock and anger. Football Supporters Europe, representing millions of fans across the continent, filed a formal complaint with the European Commission, accusing FIFA of abusing its monopoly position over ticket sales. Human rights organizations including Amnesty International have issued emergency reports about the tournament's host nation. 20 European federation heads considered an unprecedented boycott. Stadium workers in Los Angeles voted to authorize a strike. And perhaps most tellingly, senior figures inside FIFA itself have privately acknowledged that preparations for this tournament did not go as expected. Not as expected. The biggest sporting event in human history, not going as expected. The fans who love this game, who save for years to attend, who teach it to their children, who wake up at 3 a.m. to watch it, deserve so much better than this. Here is the FIFA Revolt verdict. And we mean every word. FIFA was warned about every single one of these problems. Every one. They were warned about the heat in 2025. They were warned about the Iran situation the moment the military strikes happened in February. They were warned about cartel violence in Guadalajara. They were warned about travel bans affecting competing nations. They were warned about ticket pricing driving fans away. And in every single case, FIFA chose money over people. FIFA chose revenue over safety. FIFA chose their $14 billion projection over the basic dignity of football supporters. Gianni Infantino spent his time before this tournament taking meetings with world leaders, accepting peace prizes, and defending sky-high ticket prices as market rates, while his organization presided over the most chaotic World Cup build-up in history. Football belongs to the fans, not to FIFA's revenue projections, not to Infantino's political relationships, not to broadcasters who want to turn hydration breaks into advertisements. This World Cup has barely started, and already the list of problems is longer than anyone thought possible. We will be here every single day, covering every single one of them. If this video opened your eyes to what is really happening at World Cup 2026, hit subscribe right now because this is just the beginning. We will be covering every VAR controversy, every political development, every fan story, every FIFA failure, live as it happens throughout the entire tournament. Drop a comment below. Which of these 6 problems do you think is the most serious? Let us know. Share this video with every football fan you know. The more people who understand what FIFA is really doing, the harder it becomes for them to keep getting away with it. This is FIFA Revolt. The fans are fighting back.